Hey everyone, just wanted to make a quick video. Hopefully it won't be too long, should be pretty quick. Just kind of going over some thoughts that I didn't get to in my pickups video. I'm thinking that one will be coming out before this one since I recorded a couple nights ago. Real quick for the background here, these are some birthday presents I just got. This is from my son, my nearly 4-year-old. He picked this one out for me, Miles Morales Iron Spider. Really cool. And then my wife got me this, which is for comic. Of course I have, and I think I've showed off on the channel before, so super cool. And I threw these over here for eye candy. One of my son's Godzilla toys, and then one of his Ninja Turtle toys. But anyways, there was just a lot on my mind. Wesley made that video about keeping the hobby alive, and of course it really almost made me sort of emotional, just thinking about everything and really trying to keep everything alive with the change in life and everything going on. So I don't want to ramble on too much, so I'll try to hurry. Okay, so of course we've had a lot of changes since this channel started. I was basically single, and then not long after the channel started, no longer single, engaged, married, got a house, 2 kids. So a lot's changed for me. And then for Wesley and Jessica, they were already together, but of course they got married and had 2 children as well. So you can imagine we definitely don't have the time and everything like we used to. Yeah, we've just we've really grown up with the channel in a lot of ways. So it's a little harder to go do the things that we used to do for obvious reasons. But that's also moving. Like Wesley and Jessica actually live in another state now, so that's also sort of a barrier, even though we still see each other almost about the same as we used to, in the past several years at least. So but what I wanted to talk about real quick is Wesley had talked about kind of how Shane had impacted us so much, and losing him was a big hit. And me and him had shared some texts back in the day of that definitely took some of the bite out of it, because we thought so much of Shane and we really miss him, and we just had a lot of fun just kind of figuring out people like him exist and getting to know him, and there's no one else like Shane. So no doubt that really did impact us. But I've always told Wesley I want to keep this thing going, even if it looks a little different right now, because I don't want to just quit. I want to keep doing these things that these guys loved and keep it up. It's something that we all love and relate to, and helps us through some of our tougher times and everything. Sorry about that. I had to pause the video, and I think I accidentally stopped it and started a new one. But real quick, where I was saying though is I want to talk about how my experience is a little bit different than some of the things Wesley talked about. I don't know how much I've talked about it on the channel, but I had a cousin named Jansen who meant the world to me as a kid. He was my best friend as a kid. We'd always be spending the night with each other, always up to something. And from my cousin, a lot of my interests and hobbies actually come from him, from when we were kids. He gave me one of my first Megazords, and my favorite one that I ever had, from the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. I watched all the Star Wars movies at his house for the very first time, except for episode 2 I watched in the movie theater. All the rest I watched at his house for the first time. All the Jurassic Park movies I watched for the very first time at his house, especially Jurassic Park 3. I remember that being a huge deal for us. A lot of the Marvel movies I watched for the first time at his house. I know I watched all the X-Men movies at his house up to that point. Let's see what else. I actually played GTA for the first time, played Beautiful Joe, watched my first Godzilla movie at his house, and last but not least, the main thing was Dragon Ball Z. He played a huge part in getting me into DBZ, and if you know me, that's my favorite franchise out of everything. And I collect it like crazy. He had a VHS set that covered a lot of the Namek saga. In one of our videos at a FarleyCon, I actually got a tote or tub full of VHS Dragon Ball Z VHS tapes, and I sold most of them, but I kept that one. It was the same that he had, and it actually sits on a shelf by my bed that I actually can see every night when I go to sleep. I say all that to say that when we got sort of to like middle school age, my cousin and I had, he was a couple years older, so he discovered girls and all that good stuff, and he went his own way. And then of course I was just a couple years behind him and everything, and we sort of lost touch for the most part. The last time I can remember talking to him was when we were teenagers, and he had some things happen in life. Things had gotten kind of rough, and one of my biggest regrets in life is that I didn't reach back out to him. I remember specifically one time I had the Messenger app open in Facebook, and I was going to reach out to him and just say, hey man, how have you been? I probably wouldn't get into everything of like, I miss you and I hope you're doing well and I hope we can hang out sometime, because, in a lot of ways you're like my hero. But I really regret that I didn't send that message, because about 5.5 years ago, my cousin was actually killed in a car accident. And so when that happened, we were about 1.5 years into the channel. And that I've been blessed in that I haven't had a whole lot of death in my life. I lost my pawpaw this year. And today was actually his birthday, the first birthday he's not been here with us. But those are by far the two biggest. But that was 5.5 years ago, and he was 28 years old. So that's tough. And it really changed the way I look at a lot of this. So in a lot of ways, the thing that happened with Shane and all that, and I already kind of had that a little bit. And I guess I just took the opposite approach. Life is short. It made me kind of want to push harder. I don't know if it's to like necessarily make him proud or anything. It's just we had a mutual love of these things, and he showed me so many of these things that in a way it's like I'm still kind of showing my appreciation for him. And I don't mean to get too mushy or anything. It's just that's a big part of it for me. And losing Shane kind of went along with it. There's about 4 comics in my collection that no matter what happens, I will never, ever get rid of. And one is my first Venom, it's ASM 300. And the reason for that is not because it's first Venom or that it's the best ASM key I might ever be able to actually attain, but it's actually because Shane worked it out for me to get that and gave me a discount. That's why I'll never get rid of it. That's the only reason. That's concrete. And the other 3 are the 3 books that my cousin Jansen gave me when I was a kid. And those books have very little monetary value, but to me, they're irreplaceable. You can't put a number on it. And it's just like that with Shane. Shane actually, helped me attain a huge key for me, but they're all in the same category. I would never get rid of those 4 books. And this channel means a lot to me. We've documented so many special things like Shane, Dustin, Gamers Haven, our first cons, a lot of our first experiences. You can see our comic book philosophies change, our first discovery of first appearances, and honestly, some of the rules of comic books and collecting we've documented on the channel. We've sort of learned for the first time. It's just really cool, and I love going back and watching some of those good memories and just seeing the looks on our faces and the good times we were having. I feel like it helps, and I just never want that to die. We actually started the channel partly because or at least this was my take, because I know Wesley had his own take, but as a kid, I just didn't know there were so many comic book stores around, and I kind of wanted to just show them off, trying to think of that kid now who maybe doesn't know what's out there, and we could show off and say, hey, there's something around you, and you could be experiencing this too. And we wanted to, connect and just be part of the community. And I know Wesley and I were lockstep in that. So yeah, there's just, there's been a lot on our minds here lately and everything, and but I'm really excited. Wesley's trying to make some videos again. We're trying to work some things out behind the scenes, and even if my videos are not as entertaining or something as they used to be, I'm still really excited to make them, and they're fun for me. And I just, every time we post, I get excited just because we're keeping it alive. And I think we all kind of think that when the kids get older, we're going to boom again, and it's going to be great. And in the meantime, we're going to do what we can. And we hope that you guys will stick with us. As I record this, I think we're at 199 subscribers, so we're really hoping to get to 200, which is really awesome. And one of these days, hopefully a lot bigger number than that. But yeah, to put a bow on all of it, maybe one day our kids will get involved and share some of the same love for this that we have. And yeah, and this thing will just be a great record of all of that. And we really love all of you who take the time to watch, comment, or just subscribe, anything, even just view the video. We really appreciate you, and we're having a blast when we get to do this, and I think it's just more fulfilling when we get to do this, and we're not having to question everything. But sorry for rambling a little bit, and I appreciate you guys hearing me out, and I hope to see you in the next video.